Hello, everybody. Let's get right into the video today. We're going to be talking about different laws that you might want to be aware of as a foreigner coming to Taiwan. And of course, I don't know every country's laws, but I'm going to mostly be talking from an American's perspective and bring up anything that I think would be out of the norm for any countries that I've visited before. And this is mainly based off of this Reddit thread, this video, but I want to talk about a law that I thought was interesting when I first got to Taiwan, one that I wasn't aware of, and it has to do with driving. I'm going to use this video here to talk about it. So this is the video. Right here, you can see there is this little box in front of the crosswalk, and there's also another one back here. I wonder if there's another point in the video that's more clear. Yeah, right here. You can see this little box here, and there's actually a little icon of a guy riding a motorcycle there. That's because this is the motorcycle parking area, like the waiting area for the red light. And this right here is how motorcyclists in Taiwan, or people riding scooters too, will make a left turn. On busy intersections, they're supposed to, instead of going left, so oncoming traffic from this way, instead of directly going left like that, they'll park in this little box here and then wait for their light to turn green. So that way they can actually go left. I think they just call that a 2-point turn, a 2-point left-hand turn. But yeah, that is kind of common to see here, especially in Taipei on busy streets. And there's like a sign that's used to show when you have to do this kind of 2-point left-hand turn. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, this is it right here. So if you see this, that means you have to do this kind of weird turn here. So instead of directly going left, you have to park here and turn around. And then once this light turns green, you'll go forward. So because of that, you know, I know this is long-winded, but because of that, there are no right turns on red. I think that's the reason why. So no cars can turn right on red. No motorcycles can turn right on red. I think that's countrywide, nationwide, on even intersections that don't have this. All of them should have this kind of motorcycle parking area, at least on busier roads. A lot of them will have this one in the front as well for those 2-point left-hand turns. But yeah, in general, you're not allowed to turn right on red in Taiwan. So now let's get into the Reddit thread here. Any little known laws that foreigners should be aware of. I don't post much on Reddit, but if you're interested, this is my Reddit account. There we go. Is it okay to attend political protests? Yeah, I think it is. Is it? I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Is it okay to take photos of military vehicles and aircraft outside of bases? Outside of bases, I think it's probably fine. I don't mean obvious things like don't get a job. Okay. So let's see what people say. Not an open books law, but don't get in a dispute with an old auntie. In Taiwan, it is illegal, or it is legal. It is legal to sue somebody. It's possible to sue somebody if you kind of like swear at somebody in public, or if you make a big scene in public. Yeah. Oh, this person says here they can and will sue you. Yeah, because I forget what the exact law is, but it's something about embarrassing somebody in public or something like that. But you can't like cuss someone out in front of a bunch of people. Yeah. So there you go. Don't. Yeah, using profanity in public. Yep. That's related to the same thing here. Yeah, just don't. You can like argue with people, but you can't like cuss them out. Yeah. Photographing military assets is often not okay. I think it's fine if they're like in public, but you're not going to see them in public very often. It's not like they have military trucks on the streets or things like that. Oh, in addition to cussing people out in public, do not flip people off. Yeah. Yeah, inappropriate hand gestures. I have heard rumors when I was a kid that like different signs mean different things. But I've only seen people use the middle finger in Taiwan and China. I don't know of any other like weird symbols or signs. If they do exist, they're not very common. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So that's the same thing. Let's see if there's any other ones. Not little known and seemingly obvious, but don't ride U-bike while intoxicated. So if you don't know what U-bike is, it's a shared bike system like that person just mentioned. But here is a picture of a U-bike. These are the these are the older ones. Oh, these are newer. Oh, these are the very old ones. These are the OG ones. This is what they look like now. And then they also have these orange ones that are electric, so they're boosted. They cost more, but yeah, you can get fined for riding those while you're drunk. Level doesn't matter. Yeah, so if you get pulled over and they breathalyze you and you're over anything, I think you will get a ticket. And I would assume it's any bike too. Yeah, that makes sense. Jaywalking, yeah. So jaywalking is actually taken pretty seriously here in Taiwan. I have had a few friends, multiple friends, that have been fined for jaywalking. I have been lucky to have never been fined, but sometimes there's just not a crosswalk. I don't know the specific distance you have to be, but yeah, jaywalking can get you fined. Taiwan is so weird with what traffic laws they decide to enforce and which ones they decide to ignore. Yeah, so I don't know how. One thing that I wasn't aware of or wasn't sure of was lane splitting. I don't know if it's legal or not, but people do it all the time. So I'm assuming it's kind of legal because I've seen people do it in front of cops and nothing's happened. So lane splitting on bikes, I guess, is legal. But yeah, traffic laws are interesting. Yep, no right. Okay, that's what I said. Yeah, no right turns on red lights for Americans out there and Canadians. I guess I didn't know that. I guess that makes sense that you can turn red on red in Canada. Interesting. This person says participating in election campaigns can lead to certain punishments if it's in contradiction with your visa. That is very interesting. Foreign nationals aged 14 or older or residing in Taiwan are required to carry their passport at all times. Or a ARC or APRC. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's true that you need to have ID on you all the time. That makes sense. I think I remember hearing that before. But one thing I do want to recommend is if you're going to a bar or a club, or any place that is adjacent to a bar or a club, like a pool house, like a billiards club, I would recommend you bring your ID because I've been to a few clubs in Taiwan, and I can count on probably two hands how many times I've been to a club in my 5 years here in Taiwan. But I think 3 or 4 times I've had police come into the place I was at and ask for everybody's ID. So definitely bring your ID. A lot of clubs on like busy days, like Saturdays and Fridays, they might actually ask for your ID at the door, anyways, just to be safe. So you won't get ID'd often for alcohol, even if you look underage. Like when I was 19 here, I never got ID'd. I still have never been ID'd for alcohol or tobacco, but yeah, they ask for my IDs at clubs sometimes. Single women can retrieve and freeze their eggs, but cannot access them again without a husband. I did not know this at all. That is very interesting. Well, be wary if you want to freeze your eggs in Taiwan. Be careful of flying a drone. I would probably say this is for every country around the world, but there are a lot of restricted areas. I don't think Taiwan is super strict on on drones because I've seen them a lot at beaches. Like I went to Kunding last weekend, and there were multiple beaches that I was at where people were flying drones. I think it's not a big deal. If you want to go to Korea, though, I think you need a permit for like most places to fly drones. They're very strict about that. Ooh, and apparently there's an app that solves this problem too. So if you are a drone flyer, go ahead and get this app. More than 3 short beeps of a vehicle horn is against the law. Apparently, that that I don't know if that's true. If it is against the law, it's not enforced. Don't have a relations with a local that is married. Yeah, I would say morally it's true, and apparently it is true. You can get sued. That's interesting. It's not a crime now, but you could still be sued for compensation in a civil case. That is very interesting. I didn't know that. Make sure she's not married, fellas. Do not leave a bad Google review without hiding your identity. I know a foreigner who got sued for leaving a bad review for a school they worked at and ended up getting sued over well over 100K NTD. That's like 3,000 and some change, like $3,400 USD. And wow, yeah, it's pretty interesting. That goes back to that defamation law. So if you have to leave a bad review of somebody online, do that under some anonymity. Flying kites at certain parts of Riverside Park is against the law because it affects air traffic or something. I've been told off by the police for that before. I did not know that. I've been to the Riverside Park in the Yonghe area, and I've seen old people and they're like grandchildren playing with kites, but I did not know there were any issues with that in some parts. That's interesting. Lots of minor things are legal until you get caught, but half the time they don't give a shit, so you won't get caught. They either aren't effing around. This person brought up weed in their post. I would also like to mention tobacco. So, marijuana is illegal everywhere in Taiwan, even medicinally. But certain types of tobacco are also illegal to bring in. Like, I think they call it any heat treated tobacco products. So that includes like Nick juice, like for vapes. It includes snus. So like Zins. Zins are also illegal in Taiwan. You can find people vaping, or you can see you'll see e-cigarettes sometimes. So I think it just doesn't. It's not like super strict. But yeah, if you go to the airport, like when you arrive in the airport in Taiwan, you'll see signs that say like don't bring in snus or Zins or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know how enforced it is, but I've seen threats that say like you can get fined up to 500,000 NTD. How much is that? Like 16K? Jesus. For just bringing in some tobacco. I think that is going to be only reserved for people who are bringing in like suitcases full of it to try to sell it on the secondhand market. But yeah. Oh, actually, I'm surprised that it took this long for this to get mentioned. It probably is because most people in Taiwan are used to it now, but no eating and drinking on the MRT. Yeah, I don't know why this is, but they're really strict about eating or drinking anything on the subway. If you don't know, the MRT is the subway. It stands for Mass Rapid Transport. And yeah, no eating or drinking anything. If you have to drink water, it's fine, but yeah, you're not allowed to eat or drink inside of the metro. That goes for chewing gum as well. I imagine most foreigners are not chewing betel nut. Betel nut, if you don't know, is a kind of nut that people chew, and it emits it dispels this red juice, and people spit it out. I don't think you're supposed to swallow the juice. I basically think it's very similar to chewing tobacco, and yeah, it gives you a little buzz, but it's really local. I don't know any foreigners that chew betel nut. If you see, let me see real quick. If you see any stands that this is what it looks like. This is what the nut looks like. If you see any women, usually it's women folding the leaves around the nuts, and they'll have like little stands with LEDs. Yeah, it'll look like this. Sometimes you can buy drinks in there too, and yeah, this is the Chinese character out there, Bin Lang. Yeah, the stands are common, but I don't know anybody that chews them. A lot of taxi drivers will chew them, but yeah, you cannot eat or drink or chew gum or chew betel nut inside of the MRT. That also goes for buses. That does not go for, we call them Keyun. Keyun are like the long transit buses, so like intra-city buses going from like Taipei to Taoyuan or whatever. Some of those you can drink and eat on. They don't care. Also, trains you can eat and drink on. Not the MRT trains, not the subway trains, not the metro trains, but you can on like Taitia, which is like Taiwan's old train system, and you can on the Gaotia as well, the high-speed rail. You can also eat and drink on those. You can also eat and drink alcohol on those if you want to. Actually, I was riding the Gaotia last weekend, and I had a beer on there. They unfortunately do not sell any, so I only had one. Don't drink beverages on the MRT. Yes. I'm shocked at how aggressively this was socially enforced. I think it's, yeah, very aggressively socially enforced, of course, but there are also security guards in the MRT. So, and they will yell at you or tell you to like, you know, they'll do some like sign language or whatever if they don't speak Chinese or if they don't speak English. And you obviously look like a foreigner, then they might do something like that. Well, those are the most important ones that I would say affect most foreigners coming in. There really aren't that many strange laws. If I hear of any more, I'll leave them in the comments below. One other thing I would like to mention is the emergency services hotlines. I know this isn't really relevant to breaking the law, but when dealing with law enforcement, if you need them, they are 110 instead of 911. So it's 110 for police and ambulance, and then 119 for fire department and ambulance. And then it says 112 for general emergency. I'm not really sure what that is, but um, I think 119 and 110 are the most commonly called numbers. So you might have been able to see that as well on the right hand side as I was scrolling up and down. But if you guys know of any weird laws in Taiwan or in your home country, I would love to hear about them. I think they're really interesting. I don't really know any American ones off the top of my head, but yeah, if you have any, please share them. If you have any other questions about Taiwanese law, I'm not the person to ask, actually. I would go do some research online. If you have any questions about living in Taiwan, though, definitely leave a comment about that, and I can help you give my perspective or experience. I will see you. Oh, one more thing I want to plug real quick is I made a new channel. I've been lazy with this channel, and I'm about to be even lazier. Hopefully not. Hopefully this will encourage me to keep uploading more. So I made a new channel, and on that channel, I'm only speaking Chinese. It's going to be a Chinese only channel, so I won't be speaking Chinese that much on this channel anymore. And other than the occasional video or collaborations or things like that, big videos I'll probably still upload on this channel. But if you want to hear me speaking Chinese, you can go ahead and go over to that channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. Cool. Like I said, if you have any other questions, comments, please leave those down below, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.